Hey everybody, my name is Dominic and I'm with PowerSlap News. Joining me today is Jesse Nutting. Jesse, how are you, man?
I'm doing pretty good. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming. I know it was short notice. I know we talked a little bit before, but thanks so much for just quickly jumping in and making this happen for us.
I got 12 hours before I leave to Vegas. I'm good.
Oh, are you leaving tonight?
No, I leave it in 12 hours, so
12
like
hours.
early morning tomorrow.
Nice. Thanks to you again, we're flying out on Friday. It's going to be our first time out in Vegas, out at the Apex for an awesome event. We're super hyped about it. So big thanks to you. Before we get started, there's something I want to ask you. I see on your Twitter and your social medias, it's Jesse Busta Nutting. But on the UFC Power Slap website, it's Jesse Juggernaut Nutting. Are we making a change here? We brand changing, or is there a mistake? Did I catch maybe an error?
Um, so media is making me change from Busta to Juggernaut. So I've been a professional fighter since 2014. I've been a cage fighter since 2011. So this is definitely I've been Busta forever. All the announcers out here, like Oregon, California, Idaho, Washington, and even Wisconsin, they all know me as Busta. So this is brand new to me for being Juggernaut.
But doesn't sound like it's a choice. Sounds like it's a force change here.
Yeah. That's. I mean, I did a little. I had a little fun during the show. That it's kind of an inside joke with the guys that were on the show with me. Anytime they said Jesse Nutting, I always yelled "Can't stop, won't stop" because I was originally going to change it from Busted to Can't Stop, but they totally put a niche on that because I have a horrible last name.
Oh my goodness. Trying to have a little bit of fun with it and they won't let you there, eh?
Oh, 100%. I'm just like, oh, whatever. That's fine. You guys can do whatever you want on this, and I'm just gonna. We'll all know what it really is.
So the show is over now. Well, the house part of the show is over. We're leading up to the first ever Power Slap live event coming up on March 11. But now that the show is over, I have some questions in regards to the house there. I've spoken to a few fighters, and there seems to be on top of the fights going on for the belt, we also seem to have a little bit of a fight going on in the house for nicest guy in the house between Jesse Nutting and John Davis. Who would you say is number one for nicest guy in the house? You or John?
Well, I mean, I'm gonna say John just because I no not the nicest person in the house. They're gonna say they're the nicest person in the house. They're gonna lead it to somebody else. So it's John Davis.
So that's pure strategy though.
Yeah, because if you ask him, hopefully he says me.
But everyone I've spoken to have spoken very highly, especially about you two, as some of the two more level-headed fighters or level-headed people, I should say, in the house, and versus some other people we've seen in there, Azrael, other people fighting, getting too drunk, etc. Everyone I've spoken to have spoken very highly about you and John. Is that because you guys are more family oriented or more like you guys said you guys have more of a professional fighting background? What makes you two so different?
Honestly, we both have four. Well, I think he has three kids, but we both have kids. We both have a woman at home, and you don't want your family to see you on TV you know, acting weird, different. Like you don't want the alcohol or anything to affect you. You wanna have your friends and family show that you have a professionalism to you, no matter where you are.
For sure. Speaking of professionalism and going into the sport a little bit, in the early days of UFC, we saw the sport change very drastically. We saw rule changes such as gis, different types of footwear that was allowed, wasn't allowed, that type of stuff. I've asked this question to everybody, and it seems to go back and forth. What do you find is more important in slap? Height versus weight. Is it better to be the taller fighter? Is it better to be the heavier fighter?
I mean, honestly, we're in weight classes. I wish, I really wish at 185 that people were going to be taller than me. So I want to come up at them, and I want to have that max height at them when I hit them. I want to be the shorter one.
It's exactly my point. And that seems to be when I ask the majority of the fighters, they tend to say they want to be the shorter person, especially now that after training, you guys have been training with Wolverine, Darius. You guys have kind of figured out that adding the bend, adding the legs to it, and coming up is definitely seems to be the better way to hit. Do you think that type of bending, come down, knee explosion, do you think that'll change in the sport, or is that just get adopted?
As long as you don't commit any fouls, as long as that foot doesn't come up or anything. I mean, I think a lot of people are going to use that. Me myself, I have my own style that I want to do, and I've been training this style for a few months now. I'm My coach has a Kempo karate background style, so we go with opposing forces, and we do a few different things with that, and that's going to be next time you see me, I will have that down packed 100%, and you will see my opponent going down every time.
Nice. That's awesome. In regards to fighters going down, we often see fighters go down in many other sports, but for some reason, when a fighter goes down in a slap fight, Twitter and the internet loses their mind. The Reddit, the Discord, some of these places aren't so kind to the sport. And it really boggles my mind personally because we see these other sports, besides the UFC, where it's a zero-sum game, climbing a mountain without any ropes, jumping a helicopter with a skateboard, 15 backflips on a BMX bike, right? And as long as you got a Red Bull helmet on, it's okay. But a slap fighter gets knocked out, and Twitter says it's the most barbaric thing on the planet. What are your thoughts to the way the public is currently viewing the sport as somebody who's actually living it and has lived as a combat fighter outside of slap fighting?
Well, I mean, I've done MMA before, and I think slap is a lot less harmful than MMA. I've had bad judges where, like, I've been kneed to my head while on the ground, which is illegal. And if you get rocked in MMA and you're falling to the ground, the guy can follow up and hit you with a few more shots. If you're already out cold, the ref's not going to pull him off right away. He's not going to see it right away. You're going to get that 1 to 2 unprotected hits. So that's after getting 50 to 60 to 70 hits through the rounds. This is only 3 hits, and they're unprotected. You're going to get hit way more unprotected in any other sport.
I agree. I don't think it's one of the most barbaric things that we've seen people do. I also think it's not one of the most risky things we've seen people do, right? We've seen people take a lot more risk with their lives, a lot more risk when it comes to extreme sports, combat sports. And to that, I say that's what makes the world a beautiful place, right? That people have the freedom to choose to follow their passion in these types of sports. And is slap now going to be your new passion, or are you going to be bouncing back and forth between combat, between MMA, boxing? Are you still trying to figure out where Jesse Nutting calls home?
So I've been training with the gym I've been at for the last 2 years. My first gym just invited me back to train there. I like doing the slap. I'll continue doing the slap as long as they keep me signed to them. But I also want to do MMA again. I also want to do a little bit of BKFC, some bare knuckle. Doesn't have to be BKFC because it could be whatever bare knuckle there is. But I want to get into that. I want to try left way. I'm born to fight. I like fighting. I'll do any type of martial art there is.
So I've seen some bare knuckle. Bare knuckle looks pretty intense. Have you seen? I think they call it seatbelt jujitsu. Have you seen this one yet?
Oh yeah, that's another JT Tilly creation.
Are we gonna see a Jesse Nutting show up in a in a seatbelt jujitsu match?
I mean, I've been doing jiu-jitsu since 2013. I'm a pro belt right now. So, I mean, I wouldn't mind. I'd hop in that.
It looks like a fun one. I have to say, out of all these new ones I've seen popping up, that one definitely seems like a funner one. So coming up to the March 11 event, we know that you're on the list for a potential alternate. Is that still the case?
I'm a 185-pound alternate, and hopefully somebody, not hopefully, but to me, hopefully somebody gets hurt, somebody doesn't show up, somebody can't fight for some reason, like they don't pass their medical or something. I'm there. I'm ready to fight. I'm ready to hop in there. I want to get on that. It's PowerSlap 1. Why would you not want to be on that card?
So have you been staying ready this whole time? You've been in the gym, keeping weight, keeping training. You're ready to go. March 11, they call you. You're ready to go.
I've been lifting and running every day since leaving the house. I've been walking out. I've been walking around at 1 second.
Don't worry about it, man.
All right. Now, can you ask that question again? Let's start that over again.
Yeah, no problem, man. So I think the question that we were asking right there was, you're still an alternate for the event. Have you been staying ready? Have you been training up until this point? Is weight on point? Come March 11, they call you, Jesse, we need you on the big stage. You're ready to go. No problems.
I've been working out, lifting, and running every day since leaving the house. I've been sticking right at about 198, 199. And last couple weeks, I've been bringing it down. Right now, I'm sitting at 192. And I'm going to have the easiest cut down to 185 for Friday when I weigh in. Yeah, I've been staying 100% ready. I'm bigger than I was back in the house. I have way more strength, and I've been studying on how my coach wants me to strike.
So we spoke to Alex earlier today, and he let us know that Paul is no longer going to be able to fight. He's stepping down, and the alternate got called up. Andrew's going to be stepping up to fight Alex. So not to give you any bit of false hope there, but it looks like some people might not be making it in. Does that give you a little bit more of fuel to the fire that we're going to be seeing you on the main stage there?
So on Thursday, I read that Paul wasn't going to be there. I literally hit up Alex. I was like, hey, would you take a fight at 175? I will cut down to 175 right now. And Alex is like, if we can do it, we can do it. And so I hit up Frank, and Frank's like, I'm sorry, that's way too much weight for you to cut. We want you as an alternate at 185. But I'm like, I'm a company man. I want on that stage. I'll cut as low as you want me to go.
So that's crazy, man. So you even, as soon as you heard, you offered to say, hey, put me in there. I'll cut to what you need to get me into that event. That's awesome. Like that's pretty crazy.
Like I said, I first asked Alex because I didn't want to be like, hey, if he's not going to do it, I don't want to try to go ask the boss right away. So I asked him, he's like, I'm down. I want on that card. So I hit up the boss, and the boss is like, no, we're going to have Andrew Provost be on as the alternate. And I'm like, well, hopefully he shows up. We've seen his track record. Broken wrist, doesn't want to strike anymore. Goddamn.
Yeah, right. That was pretty crazy, right? Was a broken wrist or broken hand, regardless, a pretty serious injury there.
I don't care what injury it was. We have two hands.
That's very true. You throw the other hand.
Exactly. I mean, that's what I would do. I don't care how bad I get injured. I'm fighting through an injury. It's only 3 rounds. It's only 3 hits. It's not like it's not like you can't do 3 hits. Like, oh, I broke my wrist on the first hit. Whatever. I got 2 more hits. I'll fight through that pain. I don't care.
That's true, right? That's what separates I think a lot of people, or what's gonna separate a lot of people in the sport, is who can get over that initial first hit, right? Who can pull themselves through it, who's got that extra little drive, that what they're fighting for. Like we saw you in the last one there, really hyping yourself up, talking about your kids, right? Like, we don't quit, we don't go down. You were pacing, you were really, and I think we're going to see, especially in this sport, that mental fortitude, that extra little bit is what's going to, it's not going to be so much, it's going to be a tough chin, don't get me wrong, but I think that extra little bit of why are you there? And I think you have a big reason to why you're here.
That why I'm there is what got me to that first hit from John Davis. I was not there after that first hit. But as soon as I heard the guy counting, I'm like, no, 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 no. I'm here. I'm ready for this. Like, I snapped back to reality as quick as possible. But I was standing out cold for a little bit.
I've seen this debate come up on the subreddit a couple times, and I thought this was a really interesting point. Why does the referee give you a 10 count when you have 30 seconds to recover after a slap?
Well, if you're out cold or you're rocked, you're not like, yeah, you can get back to that table, but that second hit's going to be way more damaging if you're out cold. If you're just like, I need 30 seconds to get back to the table, it's cool. But if you're already rocked and your brain's already shook, it's going to do a lot more damage to get hit again if you're not back to fortitude, if you're not back to 100%.
I see. So it's a strict rule there, just more or less. We know the fighters, if we give them the time, they're going to get back to the block, whether they should or they shouldn't. This is more to save the fighters from themselves, kind of rule.
In my opinion, yes, that is exactly what I believe the rule is there for.
Speaking of rules, something Anthony Green brought up to me was the inconsistencies in coin flipping. When we go back, some referees are allowing the coin to hit the ground. Some are catching it and then doing the flip over. And we know the coin toss is a huge deal in this sport. How do you feel about these little inconsistencies? Do those things really get on your nerves when you see them? Are you like, oh, let it hit the ground? What are we doing?
Dude, I don't care about the coin toss. I'll go first or second. I just know I'm going to the decision at the end of it. Like, if I don't knock the guy out, I'm going to decision because I'm sorry, but I don't get knocked out. I don't hit the ground.
So is there ever a time where Jesse picks to go second? Is he saying, you know what, you go first? Or is that never happening? Go first every time, no matter what.
I don't care what the coin toss does, but if I win that coin toss, I'm going first. I'm not dumb. I'm sorry, but I learned if you get hit and you get rocked, your second and third hit are not going to be as strong as when you got rocked.
Yeah. Speaking of rocking people, I've seen the argument as well, changing up the hands. You want to rock both sides of the equilibrium, or are you saying no, 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 pile on damage, one side, all three slaps every time?
So honestly, if I hit you like my first two times with one hand and I literally did no damage, I'll probably go to the other hand and hit you with the other hand. But if I hit you and you move a little bit on that first hit, that second and third hit's going to be the same hand. I'm going to continue the damage on the same side I started.
So you're rolling with a more of a dynamic strategy based on the reaction of the person you're hitting.
Oh, 100%, yes. Like, okay. I saw during Dwayne's fight, Dwayne asked Derek, he's like, hey, I hit him with the right twice. He didn't move. Should I go with my left or should I continue with the right? And Darius is 100% like, if you start with one hand, you should do it on all sides of the hand. Me, on the other hand, I would have told Dwayne to be like, yeah, go with your left on that last hit.
I guess if you're confident in your left, why not, right? Because then what else is that? Also, what's that doing to the mental guy? Because he's sitting there, he's heard right hand on two, and now all of a sudden left hand on two. You might have shook him up a little bit there, and now he flinches early, or he just throws him off that extra little bit. So I like that. I get what you're saying there. I want to bring us back to the March 11 event because that's what's coming up. That's the big one. Talking to the other fighters, it sounds like there's a lot more creative freedom around the walkout this time around. It's not as limited as Dana White when he was building the UFC was, hey, this isn't WWE, no big flashy walkouts, none of that. Sounds like it's a little more lenient around PowerSlap. If you get to do your walkout, what do you got planned, or is this big hush hush secret we don't get to know?
So if I get to do my walkout song is Venga Bus from the Venga Boys. You know, I don't know if you know Six Flags, the Six Flags theme song.
Yeah,
Venga Bus. Yeah, I'll come out to Venga Bus and I'll do that old man's dance all the way out there. That the old man commercial that from back in the early 90s. Yeah. That's my song, that's my walkout.
That's awesome, man. How do you feel about having that extra creative freedom versus not having that? We've seen in the show was the show. We didn't really get to see you guys kind of like walk out, get the Vaseline, chalk up. We didn't really get to see too much of that build up. How do you feel now that this is getting towards more of a pay-per-view kind of style? Do you like that build up, or do you think no, we should just be cutting all that out, getting right to the slapping?
I mean, show the fighter's personality. If you just show the slaps, the audience isn't going to be able to connect with them as well. If you show the fighter's personality and everything, walking out, how he looks, like if he's serious about it, or if he's like fun dancing about it, or if he's singing along to his own walkout music, all those things are going to make the audience like that fighter more.
I agree.
I like the creative freedom.
I agree, man. I look at people like Darren Till walk out to the Sweet Caroline every single time. The crowd expects it. You know what I mean? It adds to the brand. So I really like that you guys are going to be able to get that creative freedom in this sport going forward. And hopefully it escalates to not crazy, crazy flashy. I don't want, people coming out here with a whole song and dance parade, but something, you're right, to show everyone's personality on display, maybe your own music, your own clothing line, something, right? Get that out to the people.
Oh yeah. I know I'm walking out with my podcast logo on, with my podcast hat and everything, just so I can get a little more exposure for the podcast and everything. So I'm walking out with that stuff on. But I haven't really talked to any of my sponsors about wearing their gear yet. I might not. I leave tomorrow, so I really can't get my sponsor's shirt right now, actually. I didn't even think about that. I'm like, it's too late, whatever, next time.
Hey, it's always going to be a next time, right? I think I think you're going to be a face we see in the sport for a long time coming. When I talk to some people and I ask them, hey, who do you see as your long-term people in the sport? You're always a name that comes around. So I think not having you on that first card is really a disappointment. I think all of us really wanted to see you have like a match on that card. Like you said, it's one of those bittersweet. We're rooting that you get a spot, but we also don't want to wish ill upon the other fighters. But it'd be awesome to see you on that card.
Also, after this event, expect me to come down to 170. I can make 170. I used to fight MMA at 145, 155. After I retired from MMA, I got pretty big. Like last March, I did my first event at 225 pounds. Then back in the house, I did at 185. So I'm slowly losing the weight to get to lower weight classes.
Is the lower weight class right now where the more competitive competition is, or is that just where more competition is? So you want to get down there?
I mean, you got KO Chris, and I want to see if I can need all three of his hits, really. Like, I don't mean any disrespect for the guy, because I've seen the guy hit, and I've seen all of his opponents go down, but I want to feel that power.
I've heard he's another one that used to walk around 220, 230. I heard he used to also be another big fellow. So he's cut down quite a bit, and he's down in that weight class. So he's carried that power with him. It really seems.
Oh yeah, I mean, I have a good chin, and I want to test it against the people that are knocking everybody else out.
I think that's one of the things that also makes you different, right? You're not somebody to shy away from the hit. You're not somebody who loses that coin toss and is really spiraling about, oh no, I'm gonna have to take that first one. Like, you're more of a let me see if I could take this, kind of, you step up to the challenge. And I think a lot of the fans see that from you.
I mean, I'm in it. I'm not in it to not get hit. I'm not in it for all like the first round KOs. I'm in it for the war. I'm in it for the battle. I want the 3-round war. I want to show that, hey, just because I got hit doesn't mean I can't deliver harder.
For sure, man. That does it for me in regards to questions. I want to give you the floor here. I want to give you an opportunity to let the fans know anything you want to let them know. If you want to plug any of your sponsors, if you want to plug the podcast, any merch or websites, anything like that, by all means, the floor is yours. Go ahead.
So my sponsors, Taco El Tule in Bellingham, Washington. Best taco truck there is in Washington, in my opinion. My podcast is Bare Fisted Podcast. We get all your UFC picks. We talk. We literally just go on, and we talk about all the fighting. We talk about PowerSlap. We talk about a lot of other MMA. We're the most violent podcast there is.
That sounds
So
awesome.
yeah, that's pretty much my 2 shout outs I want to give, and I love you, Mom. No.
We're gonna leave that in. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. We're looking forward to Vegas. Thank you again for helping us make that a reality. We're gonna be there.